I plan to use money saved in my 401k for long-term care. Otherwise, my children will inherit this money, so why convert? Well, there's two issues here. Should you convert money you might use, I'll say, for qualified medical expenses. Not all long-term care depends, not all nursing home expenses are necessarily qualified medical expenses from a tax deductibility perspective. But let's assume that that's what we're talking about. So that's one issue. And then the second issue is my children are going to inherit it. So how should I think about that? Those are two very different issues. So let's address them both. A lot of folks will say that you shouldn't convert all of the money in traditional accounts because if you're going to need significant, health care, and it's going to be, big dollars towards the end of your life, those dollars, to the extent they're 7.5% over adjusted gross income, I think is the tax rule, can be deductible. And so a lot of folks say, look, since you can deduct these expenses over 7.5% of your AGI, you might want to keep some money in traditional retirement accounts. Yeah, they'll be taxed when you pull them out, but then you'll have this deduction to offset a lot of that. I would say at a minimum, you should consider that when evaluating whether a Roth conversion makes sense. So that would be my answer to the first part of the question. And the second part is in terms of should your children inherit a traditional retirement account where they'll pay taxes, let's just say over the 10 years after you die, or should you convert it in your lifetime and then give them effectively tax-free money in a Roth? And the answer really depends on it's still the same analysis. What would you pay now if you converted versus what would you or your children in this case pay when they took the money out after you've passed away? And if your children are going to pay less in taxes than you would, yeah, keep it in traditional. But maybe you're in a lower tax bracket and they're in the top tax bracket and they'd pay an arm and a leg. Yeah, you might want to convert to Roth. It might be better for them. Now, that's the sort of theoretical and I believe correct answer. I will say in practice, it's really challenging because you may, you don't know when you're going to pass away in most cases. It could be decades down the road. You know where your children are now, but who knows what they're, how much money they're going to be making then. And you don't know how much money you're going to have left in your accounts. And, there's so many unknowns that I would say in actually executing a plan, you have to be comfortable doing so with just your best guesses. That's, it's just sort of the way retirement planning works.